Hey guys, welcome back to the His and Hers, the Truth podcast. My name is Tuan. This is my beautiful wife.
Hi, welcome to our channel. My name is Sim. Glad you are joining us today.
Yes, guys, and while you're here, of course, please subscribe to the channel, right? Smash that like button.
Boom.
Quit shadow watching out there.
No shadow
And
watching.
don't do it now, but at the end of the video, of course, share and comment, right? Spread the truth, debunk the lies. That's what we always say on this channel. Guys, hey, real quick, too, we have another live coming up this weekend, right?
Yes, we
It's
do.
going to be on Sunday, guys. It's going to be around 6 o'clock Pacific time. And we're going to be interviewing some young, they're not a couple, but some young guy and a gal out there that's actually out
Yes.
in the dating market.
So,
So-
watch for it.
Yeah, so like I told you guys this year, we're going to try to bring out more Asian content. Of course, in our space, right? The RP, kind of the manosphere, relationships. But guys, I really want to kind of create kind of an Asian manosphere, an Asian, space, right? Where we can
Yes.
talk about all these topics because, like I said, I think we as the Asian community haven't touched on these for whatever reason, taboo,
Yeah.
not unspoken type of topics. But anyways, let's get to the video that we're going to be reacting today, honey. So the video today that I wanted to react to is it just popped up on my feed. Had an interesting title. I wanted us to do it. And the title of the video is "This Asian Country Has the Least Conservative Dating Scene. Rank me." And so where it sparked my interest, honey, real quick, is
Okay.
because it said the conservative dating scene.
Yeah.
So as I was telling you guys out there, right, what you guys think of in terms of like traditional relationships or traditional courting, it's not anymore, right? We live in a modern society, social media, right? 2010 is when kind of the all the social media platforms came on there, feminism, all these things, right? So I'm curious to see these people who are more quote unquote traditional,
Yeah.
right? See what they're going to say. All right, let's begin.
Okay.
Japanese guys are cold. I almost never see my dad hold my mom's hands.
How do Japanese guys show love?
Yeah, that's a hard question.
Hi everyone, I'm Chandler.
Okay, hey, before we get into the introduction, that first part, what do you think, honey? Because I like to clarify or at least kind of comment on it. What do you think about the whole Japanese traditional? Obviously, her mom and dad is traditional, right? Doesn't express love. And I'm assuming not only in public, but obviously in front of the kids, right? Obviously, she never seen it, didn't see her dad. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's true. I mean, if you watch like some of the dramas and stuff, what they show on the drama, the men's are pretty conservative. They don't show affection, publicly, not like here in, our Western world where it's more shown. But in the dramas and watching, on YouTube channel when people are traveling over there, you don't see people showing affection as much.
Correct,
know.
correct. And I think
So I agree with her.
as much as I 100% know that Asian cultures, regardless if it's Japanese, Chinese, or whatever, and we'll get into the video, guys, but this is something that the Asian tradition has held on to, I say, longer than other ethnicities. And don't get me wrong, I could be wrong. I'm sure there's some European countries, there's some African, other ethnicities that are probably still holding on to these values. But this is a traditional value that I really don't think is strictly relevant with just Asians. And the reason why I say that, guys, is because traditionally, the reason why we didn't express that in public or obviously like in front of your kids, right, is because it's in essence showing uncontrolled emotion, right? Especially from the man side, right? Because you're supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to be obviously stoic. You're supposed to obviously show that you have, pretty much everything in order, right? And
Under
so
control in a way.
historically, showing that emotion is a feminine trait, which it rightfully is. Obviously, women are way better at it. You guys are more socially, emotionally acute, right? Powerful about that. So I think for a guy to do that, I think is not a good thing. Now, I think we took it to the extreme in the traditional sense, right? I mean, there's no problem like hugging your kids, right? Telling them that you're proud of them, love them. Trust me, guys, I follow more of a modern context in that regard, my wife and I. But I think there's something to be said being about like the dude just being clingy, being lovey-dovey all the time, right? And I think obviously traditional men, and in this particular case, traditional Asian, Japanese men, I think that's something that we should try to continue to hold on to. Okay.
I'm from China.
Hi, I'm Miku from Japan.
Hi, I'm Abhivyakti. Abby's completely fine. I'm from India.
Hi, I'm Edgar Allen. I'm from the Philippines.
Hi, I'm Joanna. I'm from South Korea.
Would you say your country is more traditional or more modern when it comes to dating?
I'd say from my generation, definitely very traditional. In general, I'd say China is a traditional country when it comes to dating.
In Japan, I would say more modern because many couples, even when they're in university student, they move in together when they are dating.
India is still quite traditional, especially non-urban areas, especially with the caste system. If you date outside of caste and you're not from a modern family, you're getting killed. Like honor killing is a thing. But in urban areas, people are moving in together before marriage in university. However, they still hide it from their parents, but things are evolving.
I would say Philippines is more modern right now. For me personally, I'm more traditional. I will still serenade you if I want to. Whoa, for the longest time. Whoa.
I think in South Korea, it's still pretty traditional in terms of dating. There is a really big party culture in Korea, but I would say in general, pretty much all the customs, all the sort of cultural things that a lot of people do, I would say it's still on the traditional side.
3, 2, 1. Point to the country that you think is the most traditional.
Okay, before they answer what country they think is the most traditional, what do you think about all their, opinions about how each of their individual countries, whether it was traditional or more modern? I think the only person, I think it was the Japanese gal, and and also the Filipino guy too. I think he said that was more modern now, but he also did say that he himself kind of holds more traditional role. I mean, really, it was only the Japanese gal that said the current state of affairs in Japan is more modern. So what do you think, honey?
I'll say for the whole panel, number 1 ranking tradition, I would say India is still very traditional and China is next. And then
Okay, well, that's going to be the next question. I mean, what do you just think in terms of just their opinions as far as you think they're right? Do you think China is still very traditional, Japan's modern, Filipinos modern, India's traditional, Korea is still traditional? You think those assessments are pretty true?
Yeah.
I think we got to be careful, and I think this is one of the things I'm really trying to highlight on this channel moving forward. And obviously, I think we're gonna expose it to all our Asian brothers and sisters out there.
Well, not like fully traditional, but like in terms of, I don't know if they're trying to still say they're trying to hold some tradition, because like if you get married, you're holding certain tradition where the obstacles you go to, maybe that's what they're trying to say. But dating market and stuff, I don't think most of them are traditional anymore because it's been affected. Like Western world has influence, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat to you guys that all the panels here, their countries are holding the traditional side, because it's not really like that. But if they're gonna do the marriage and stuff aspect, I think they might try to follow a little bit of tradition.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I need to make this clear for all my Asian brothers, and I think this is very important to my Asian brothers because it's really, once you become aware of this, and like I was telling you guys, I really want to create kind of this Asian manosphere, kind of this Asian RP content, because what you guys don't have to realize is that the traditional sense suppresses women's biological hypergamy. And what the social media generation has done, right? Whether you want to call that westernized fault, right? But I think it's just modern times, technology. You're trying to tell me all these other countries don't have technology, like America or the UK?
They all have it.
Women are just naturally hypergamous by nature, which, hey, I'm not faulting them. That's the whole imperative, right? You're trying to find the best guy to mate with, right? To give you the best opportunity for the truth, right? Give you the best seed, best genetics, best finance, right? Everything to give your offspring the best opportunity.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And so what happened is with the market being opened up 100%, right? The floodgates open because of the social media, because of these platforms of technology. It allows every woman now, right, to have access to that. And that is the truth, right? So once again, this has nothing to do with tradition or modern. It's just the truth being unleashed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we well, like I said, my Asian brothers, but all men out there need to realize that this is nothing to do with tradition thing. This is just the inherent biological need of women, right? And so what you're going to find is that even though these guys think that they live in a traditional age or like a culture, right? They can't mask the truth when it comes to that, right? And so those standards, those structures that were in place, whether that was culturally, right, shaming women to do it, or religious wise, that's why I always tell you guys, I really think religion has fell really far because we lost our standards with the religion, right? Religion used to be, hey, can't do this, you can't do this, you're gonna get shamed for it, we're gonna ostracize you. But now they're like, oh, we love everybody, we accept everybody for who they are, right? Blah 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 blah. And so that structure, that system is no longer in place.
Yeah.
Right. So just be warned, guys. I think this is the new modern day. No one is traditional now. And because that system has fell.
Here.
Oh,
Interesting.
There you go.
What about the most modern?
China modern? Interesting.
No, I thought they're pointing to Japan.
What do you guys
She did.
consider as like traditional or more modern aspects of dating?
Meeting the parents. Meeting the parents. Pleasing the parents.
There's a saying like in China, when you get married or when you are with somebody, you're not with that individual, you're with their family as well. So like family definitely gets involved a lot. Dating is more like an English term, right? I don't think it's called dating. It's more like,
Relationship? Like,
yeah, it's more committed than
Yeah.
casual dating.
Yeah, actually, that was like a new thing that I sort of discovered when I came back to Canada, which was the term dating, because I would feel like in Korea, dating means you're in a relationship. But I feel like in Toronto or in like North America, dating means like, let's get to know each other, let's go on a few dates. We're not a thing yet until we actually discuss it to be exclusive. So that was something I felt was quite different, because I feel like in Korea, it's like, if we're dating, we're in a relationship. And I feel like you get together first and then get to know each other afterwards.
that is definitely a thing in India as well. There's no dating phase. You're straight up in a relationship. Like the question is asked, would you want to be my girlfriend? It's not like, hey, do you want to go on a date?
That's why you guys are most tradition. I feel like when you are still struggling with your life that much, you don't really think about, oh, I'm gonna test the water. I'm gonna see a lot of people, many options. When I see someone, I'm gonna settle down with this person. So that mindset is still more like in a developing country, I feel like. That's why like China is like somewhere in the middle.
when we are in teenager, high school, we just bring the boyfriend to house, introduce mom. So they don't really expect us to get married. That's like introducing to parents is nothing much like serious things.
Yeah, my parents didn't know about my high school boyfriend. My
Yeah?
teachers called, hey, your daughter is, misbehaving by having boyfriends in high school.
In which of your countries is it a must to get married?
Okay. So, yeah. So what do you think about that last topic, Anibun?
Yeah. I mean, for like what she's saying, she's not following traditional. 'Cause normally, if it's traditional, she wouldn't be dating behind her parents, because most of the traditional parents are be like, well, if you're gonna date someone, it's the person you're gonna bring home to be introduced, and he has to go through the proper procedures to date you. Ask the parents in a way.
Yeah.
You're getting interviewed in a way by her parents and her family.
Yeah.
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 But she sort of hid it.
Which one you're talking about too, by the way? India.
The India,
right?
yeah, Miss India.
Correct. Yeah, and so you notice that all of them are saying that they're somewhere in the middle now, right? Even the Chinese guy, even though he said, yes, you're supposed to introduce them to the parents, right? And then obviously that's in a sense, yeah, kind of in a traditional structure, right? Like you have to appease the parent has to approve.
Yeah.
But he didn't say that like it was a must,
Yeah.
I mean, he just said that's one of the things you do. You introduce them to the parents, but even the Japanese gal, even the India gal, even the Korean gal said, hey, yeah, I introduced them to the parents, but the parents didn't really, So like I said, it's just the modern day and age. Like even the parents are getting shamed, right? We've lost our standards as parents, right? Too, whether that's us, the religion, the society, we've lost these standards. Like, no, you must do this to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what we've lost, All right.
Raise your hand.
Must get married?
Like you must get married. Like that's the expectation is that you're gonna get married.
I think so.
You think so?
What is like the gender roles, do you think, in your countries?
When we go on a date for the first time, or even like whenever we go on a date with boyfriends, we as women kind of expect them to pay also. They want to pay as well. Yeah, I think in Japan too.
Definitely in Korea, that's like the norm. It's like kind of expected. Like even my brother too, it's just like, and I have a lot of friends where I think the guy does pretty much everything. Like it's on the first date, I would say 90% of the time they pay for everything.
Indian men are very romantic. They will do everything. So I don't know if it's more expectation or just they do it because, I mean, Bollywood men, they wear their hearts on their sleeves.
I would usually pay, and then if there's a second, third date, then we'll probably talk in the middle, try to negotiate our way through.
Chinese girls, they don't expect you to make everything perfect, right? Because it's kind of hard to like pick the best restaurant or bring the flowers and those things. They're not really in your face about those things as long as you pay.
In Korea, age does have a really big factor in dating. And so if I'm dating like an older guy, it's like the oppa that we all hear in the K-dramas, I would say it's pretty much guaranteed. I would say it's actually different if we're the same age, then there's a more friendly outlook.
I do have a question about in India, because you said Indian guys are really romantic.
Yes.
Right? That's the first time I heard that. Because
never
what
heard
I've heard
that.
about Indian guys is they're very resistant.
They can come off strong, and I
They-
do realize
yeah.
that there is a culture where taking no for an answer has been very culminated into them. So apart from the problematic things aside, they are quite romantic in terms of gestures. Like they won't shy away from big gestures.
I don't think Chinese guys would act like that.
Oh, they do not.
Yeah,
I
I
can
don't
tell
think
from
they. I
experience.
don't think Chinese guys are like that. Because East Asian people are shy in general. Sometimes you will feel, oh, maybe this is not respectful to the girl when you a little bit like touchy or like when you show your feelings or emotions.
Well, we're on most of the cooking, flowers, gifts. We don't even celebrate anniversaries anymore. We go by monthsaries. The specific time that you, for example, if it's January 1st, February 1st.
Okay, I don't want him to go too far, but
Yeah.
did you catch something, honey, right there that at the very end that literally, guys, that's just like I said, we got to watch all these little key factors. It literally tells you that all these guys are capping. They're not traditional, and these cultures are no longer traditional. Did you catch that, honey?
When he was saying how like trying to what was it like touching or whatever else is that
Yeah.
we're trying to catch?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
no, they're
So he was saying how Chinese guys are shy, Asian guys, in the Chinese culture are shy, and they're not going to be the ones approaching. Guys, that inherently is not traditional, right? This is definitely more modern. What is the modern woman complaining about all the time right now? That men are not men, right? So the fact that these guys are saying that we're shy, we're not approaching women because we're scared, that's not a patriarchy anymore. That's not a traditional culture anymore.
The
Right,
guys
it's a
look
feminized, modernized culture because that means you put the women on the pedestal. You're fearful of her. Whereas I get it, like if they did say that the Indians are more traditional, the fact that the Indian guys are more persistent, that actually shows that they are more traditional then because they're like, hey, I'm the one that has to do the pursuing. I'm
The
just gonna be
leading.
persistent. Maybe it's a little bit problematic, like she said.
Yeah.
And I know that the modern female has all these languages to shame traditional men,
Yeah.
right? But ultimately, that's what they want. They don't want some beta ass dude that's scared to talk to them.
yeah.
So-
I mean, it's right for the guy to approach and try to talk.
And you'll notice that once again, guys, you guys have to understand that this is the modern dating market, right? You notice that all of them, even the ones that are not traditional, right? And I can think pretty much, I think we all agree that it's either the Japanese gal
Yeah.
or the Korean gal who's the least traditional, right? But I'll be honest with you, all of them are non-traditional,
Yeah.
right? But they still expected the man to be traditional.
Yeah.
Pay on the first date, approach you, right? Talk to me, right? Pursue me, right? Be alpha, be aggressive, right? And then the other thing too, I want to say too is I think they're doing us a disingenuine kind of, I guess, attempt here because these guys, I think, are not the traditional Asian men. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know the heights of them. Obviously, if they're Asian girls and they're typically more on the shorter side, but these guys look fairly tall, right? Remember, the average Asian guy is 5'6", compared to obviously westernized men, right? The average height of Western men is typically 5'8", 5'9", right? So they found some Asian brothers that are a little bit taller, a little bit more Americanized, right? I'm pretty sure they don't have as much trouble as the majority of men out there, right? But like I said, I think it's not a good example. Okay.
Will be your monthsary. Oh, we're gonna celebrate that like it's an anniversary. We got a dinner, got a good date. We're gonna take you to a theme park.
I realize a lot here, Japanese guys are cold. They don't act like romantic. They don't bring the flowers, don't say something to compliment the women. They look beautiful. They don't really say things, but they show with action, but it's hard to tell for, I think, foreigner. Japanese people, Japanese girl like that. But once we know how other guys show their love in romantic way, we feel like we feel more loved. Like for example, my parents has been together for a long time, like more than 30 years, and they are so good together. They go out together on the weekend as well still. I almost never see my dad hold my mom's hands or my dad say something like good things about my mom. Also, whenever we go out, we go on a trip a lot of times together, but he always walks ahead of us. So my mom is like a little bit behind.
Sex before marriage.
Yes.
Script. All right, honey. So so that was kind of a clarification from earlier, the beginning of the video, right, where she was talking about how her mom and dad doesn't hold hands, that type of stuff,
Show
right?
affection in public.
Yeah. So she, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that's traditional. I mean, seeing my parents' friends and stuff, they were traditional. They didn't really show that kind of affectionate sort of side to them,
Yeah.
because.
I think what the modern kids, modern dating scene doesn't realize, they forgot the one thing that she said right in the beginning. Did they glossed over the whole fact that her mom and dad was together with each other for 30 years. So it works. Right? Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it was feminism, right? Maybe it was just this context. I think it really was feminism. Women, think that, we need to show love, right? And I think that's what's led to weak men. It's what led to, them saying, oh, I want my guy to show emotions. But then when they do, they're not attracted to it. But ladies, it worked. The mom and the dad was together for over 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And even though I would say, like I said, even our own personal experience, honey, right, where our mom and dad wasn't the most affectionate loving, I will say that my mom and dad showed it from time to time.
Yeah.
They weren't like completely devoid of it, but they were with each other until my dad passed away.
So did mine.
So that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
And I will say even in our relationship, as much as I'm more westernized, we do show lovey-dovey, we hold hands in public, that type of stuff, but we are still very traditional, right?
Yeah.
We don't go over the top. I'm not making out with my wife in public, right?
Yeah.
Doing all this extra stuff in public, but we've been with each other for over 20 years now. So as much as you want to shame that, I guess, lack of emotions from the guy, it works for a reason, and it works for all the reasons why we always talk about, right? Because the man has to be the leader. He has to show that he's not in his emotions, so that way everyone in the family knows that, hey, he's got his stuff together. He can protect from me. He's not going to be all of a sudden, oh my God, the freaking sky outside is freaking gray, and now I'm going to freaking go cry, right? Get depressed. So.
True on that.
Did you say yes?
In which countries is it taboo?
Sex before marriage?
Yes. Ooh, Edgar. Well then, I have a feeling you should move then.
I do. But I feel like I should stay.
If you've noticed, in K-dramas, even a kiss is really, they make it super awkward. I would say in the past 2-3 years, there's been more dramas that show more realistic kiss scenes or anything more than that, but I would say it's still pretty rare. So I think that actually reflects kind of what the general mentality is.
This is gonna probably get me in trouble even, but prior to the current ruling government, things were a little bit more open on TV, and now things are getting more censored. Yeah, people are just getting more touchy now because they want to preserve Indian traditional values.
It's mostly kissing. If you want to see anything other than that, you gotta go to the special theater. That's still... No, they premiere older movies that have intense bed scenes, but they're not really sex scenes. It's just that they call them bold. Like that's like you used to
Yeah.
call them bold. They still call them bold.
Yeah, they still call it bold in India as well. Like,
In Japan, we have a TV program 9 p.m. So it's still teenager can watch, but they talk about sex. They talk about in TV programs. So and also in Japan, the kind of industry like something sexual related is pretty big. If you wanna go to that kind of place, that's so achievable. It's really easy to go.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like it's almost coming to the end of the video, but what do you think about that, honey bun? They're talking about kind of like sex before marriage, and is it taboo in their country? And you'll notice how what they all answered, and kind of how even the host was kind of shaming the Filipino dude about like, you know, needing to move to another country. What's your thoughts on that?
Because it's not, you know, because what they're trying to say is now it's not traditional where people preserve, you know, things like that anymore.
Yeah.
People aren't traditional, because traditional times women would preserve before marriage, but now it's different.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot to say, but real quick, I'm going to touch on all the key topics. One, right? There's not a whole lot of Asian sex scenes in media in general, right?
Yeah.
Love scenes, Western movies, right? They don't really show that many Asian dudes hooking up with girls, right? So they make it appear awkward. Trust me, when I grew up, I didn't really have many Asian role models to look up, right? A leading man character that I could say, okay, hey, this is how I'm supposed to act. Right, so that way I can attract the opposite sex, right? You know, kiss her, hold her a certain way, right? It was always, you know, white guys back in the day, and of course now, right, it's black guys, white guys, right? But the point is, without that, it's really hard for you know, someone to see and identify themselves, and it's just the truth. As much as I say, it's still our responsibility as Asian men to step up and do what we need to do. It does help when there's something that you can actually see, right? But with that comes some consequences. I have to warn everybody once again, especially our Asian culture, right? Let's say you want that. You want an Asian leading man to be able to show westernized traits, right? You have to understand that your Asian counterpart is going to go that route too. And I get it, right? We can't stop that flow. I just talked about it earlier, how Asian women are no longer traditional, right? But you have to remember that if you want a traditional woman, right? If you want a low body count woman, if that's still something important to you, and I'll throw out some stats right now, right? We know the stats. If your body count is more than 5, the chances of you divorcing and not having a happy marriage is significantly reduced. There's a study out there, guys. This is not me. Go check out Fresh and Fit. They just shot a video recently, right? They shot a video about a stat in 2021. Right, where the recent body count, they have found out that more than 25% of women, and I think it's higher than that, guys. I think it's gone even higher than that, has over 10 bodies. Right, we talk about this on this channel all the time. I think the average modern female body count now is like probably 20 to 30.
wow.
Right. More than 10, I personally think. So my point, it's great that you want to sexualize the media. It's great that you want to sexualize men and obviously have us being a viable option for females to look at. I'm for that. But I think we Asian men, we need to control that, right? Because once we start sexualizing our Asian females, but I get it, it's happening already. The con is that you're not going to have an Asian girl, an Asian sister that you want to get with, maybe have sex with, but then not be really committed to.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the warning I want to say about
The
that.
pros and cons, guys.
Correct.
So you got to outweigh those.
Yeah, like I said, you know, unfortunately, as much as watching those cringy ass K dramas or old school Asian videos where they're super cringy when they're kissing, the results, the facts still speak for themselves. That if the two parties were low body count, now don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter that much to the guy, but more so on the female side. But if the body count is low, the chances of a happy marriage is way higher.
True that.
Yeah, we're talking 80%. You know.
how do Japanese guys show love if they don't express it verbally or through physical gesture?
Yeah, that's a hard question. Like I say, it's not easy to see. Like, it's not something that we can see, but...
So how do you feel it?
That's why she had a Korean boyfriend.
That's so hard to tell, I think. I don't know.
Okay, so what do you think about that last part, honey? Like I said, obviously, maybe, she's seeing that overall. I think it's a little bit of cap. I think she's probably just seeing that in her own personal experience
Yeah.
because, there's a lot of leftover women in Asia now, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously social media and everything like that. I think there's a lot of expats as well, too, dating in these foreign countries, right?
Yeah.
So I think, Asian females, they're Japanese. I think they're a lot more modern than they make themselves out to be. So what do you think
are.
about her last comment?
I don't know if you're watching dramas. Like, I don't have experience of like our, like the Japanese men. Like, we have friends, but they live here in the Western world, and then we have students, that so they act more affectionate here. But I don't in Japan. If she's looking at like wanting the Japanese guy to be more westernized here, maybe they're not acting that way because maybe they're looking up to their dad and say, hey, this is how you treat a woman. Don't show this kind of affection and stuff unless you're serious with them. So.
I think this I think this topic that whole situation I think is a broader problem. I don't think it's just related to Japan.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring it to highlight because I think that's what's going on with the Western world in general as well. As much as we're not as traditional per se, Japan I think is just more of an extreme example.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you guys, because of social media, because of how the global market just opened up with everything, right? The females are, their nature is coming out, right?
Yeah.
She wants a high value guy. She wants someone tall. She wants someone who's outgoing, right? Be the leader,
Yeah.
right? And then of course, because of the social media, this she wants to see signs of affection, holding hands, and all that stuff. What happened though is that Japan has a very strict structure when it comes to the men,
Yeah.
right? Honor, duty, right? The parents look at the guy as like, hey, you got to like, all the things that we talk about that kind of like restricts men from becoming more RP aware. It's more so in Japan and countries like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think for guys, take that as a learning lesson because once again, I got to remind you guys want to play that game, be traditional, say, I'm going to do this for honor. I'm going to do this for freaking my family. And you guys think that at the end of the road, you guys all do that. And that there's going to be a happy ending for you, meaning that there's going to be a female at the end, waiting for you who's pure, maybe who has a low body count, who's traditional, cook and clean, right? Submits to you and her values where you're going to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to willing to die for you. Because that's the thing. A lot of these our Asian brothers out there, they are willing to do that. They're willing to like, hey, I bust my butt. I made something of myself. I want to honor my family and have kids. I'm going to submit, give you everything, right? That structure is not there anymore, guys.
It has changed.
Right? And once again, I want to touch on this topic because we talk about self-deletion all the time on this channel.
Yeah.
I want to bring this awareness to our Asian community because it's not being talked about, right? We don't talk about Asian self-deletion, Asian men specifically.
Yeah.
We don't talk about how a lot of freaking mass shooters recently
It's sad.
are Asian. Right. And I 100% believe there's a correlation to that. Right. Why does Japanese men have such a high deletion rate? Right. They talk about that forest, right? Logan Paul back in the day. Remember, he visited that forest where all these Asian Japanese brothers were hanging themselves. Right. Right. Why is it that in the last freaking 3 or 4 years, right, Asian men self-deletion has quadrupled, tripled, quadrupled. Right.
Yeah.
Guys, this is why I want to expose this. This is the reason why I want to bring this knowledge out. You guys need to become RP aware. You guys need to become truth aware, right? Because as men, all we can do is adapt, right? That's what a man does, right? Is get better, adapt, and know the truth so that way you can make that choice out there, right? Whether you want to walk away or not, right? Be MGTOW, be black pill, say, hey, I'm just gonna go work on myself, screw women. As long as you know the truth and you say, hey, I have a choice. I can either be the best version of myself, right? And freaking get women by the byproduct, or just say, screw it. I don't like how women's hypergamy is. And this is, they're not traditional anymore. They're freaking 304s now. And you walk away. At least you know the truth and at least you have that choice.
Yep.
And at least I save an Asian brother's life. right? You're not going to go self-delete because you're going to be like, why is this happening to me, right? Why do I feel all these things, but I don't know? And I think that's the main thing is I think our Asian brothers that are self-deleting, they don't know. And
Your
so,
life is precious. There's
Correct.
a lot of ways, guys, to up your game. There's a lot of ways to improve your lifestyle. There's just self-deletion shouldn't be in your mind. I mean, look at how precious you are to be raised to where you're at, your age, whether so
yeah.
shouldn't have that.
Send us a comment, guys, right? Comment on this thing. We'll try, especially if you guys send us a comment, I'll try to respond to you guys. But hey, if you guys say, hey, you're founding this channel, learning the truth. I don't even care if it's from our channel, but just the manosphere in general. If you guys found that content and it helped you guys, saved your life, got you in a better direction, man, that's all I'm for it. And like I said, guys, let's spread this word out because this is strictly an Asian thing. I don't want to make it racial, but it's the truth, right?
Yep.
Asian men are self-deleting more than any other ethnicities, right? So let's create that awareness and space so that we can save our Asian
Let's help
brothers
each
out there.
other and let's love one another and let's self-improve is what we want to send the message out.
All right, guys. Hey, that was a good video. Like I said, share, comment. Again, check out our live this Sunday coming up around 6 o'clock
Subscribe.
Pacific. Yep. Let's check you guys next time.
Bye.
Join us as we give you guys a glimpse into our lives, give you guys advice, hopefully give you guys entertainment value as well too, and provide you guys better outcomes.
Yes.